the Colorado Rockies select Connor Staine, a right-handed pitcher from the University of Central Florida.
Jersey Baseball Nation coming at you today. We have one of our recurring guests back talking about some life in the minors. We had Sandlot Connor Staine, we had UCF Connor Staine, we had pre-draft Connor Staine, and now we've got Colorado Rockies pro pitcher Connor Staine coming from the House of Staine, in fact, home in New Jersey, and welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Always good coming back.
Absolutely. Let's get right into pro ball. I think when we last left, it was right before the draft. Right after draft day, I think we connected real quick, and haven't really got to talk much since then. But take us through the process of signing a contract. What was that like? Obviously you're realizing a childhood dream, but let's go from there into life in the pros.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, it was surreal. So after the draft, things like we talked about didn't go as planned. Injuries clearly derail things. I mean, we all know it's a business. And I still hold myself to the standard I was when I was healthy as one of the best pitchers out there. So it was disappointing, but at the same time, like you said, it was a childhood dream coming to fruition. So, I got the call. Not even 10 minutes later, I get a call from basically the organization again saying, "Hey, we're gonna fly you out to Colorado, Denver. You're gonna come to a game. You're gonna, get a tour of the facility." We ended up meeting some of the pros there. Like we got to meet Chris Bryant, Connor Joe, Comey, their closer. We met, a ton of guys, a host of guys. And it was pretty ridiculous, how insane the inside of that facility is. But then the next day after the game, we came in, signed the papers. It was, I think, rounds 1 through 6 or 1 through 8, something like that. So all of us got to sign in person at the facility.
Mm-hmm.
And they went in order of the draft, so it was pretty cool. Nerve-wracking a little bit, trying to get used to that altitude. So I was a little bit under the weather before I was signing, but opening up the document and seeing your signing bonus and the organization's head, the owners and the GM and all those guys standing around you, kind of watching you sign, and then officially getting to shake their hand after you finish the document was pretty surreal. I mean, it was hard to take in that day, but kind of as it set in, and then as all of us were flying to Arizona that night, it was starting to set in that this is the pros, this is the real deal. Like, I am officially not a college athlete anymore. I'm officially a professional athlete, and this is where the real work starts.
Yeah. So tell us about life in Arizona. Then obviously a lot of time in Scottsdale at the training facility. Your debut took a little bit longer than expected, but certainly still got the opportunity to make your mark, learn some important lessons, and have a lot of positives going into the off season.
Yeah, I mean, Scottsdale's a beautiful area. That's where we're located. I mean, it's an incredibly wealthy area. So you're looking at, I mean, I don't think I saw more Teslas anywhere in my entire life than I saw out in Arizona. It was pretty ridiculous, but the facility is beautiful. The facility was all given to the Rockies by the people of the area, completely refurbished every year. I mean, we have chefs who cook for us in the morning. They make us lunch as well. And then when we were playing in the AZL League, that was all basically lunch and dinner. We came in a little bit later. But pretty crazy stuff. I mean, as soon as we got there the next day, we're out on the field, doing work, getting our first kind of meetings out of the way with the coaches, meeting our head pitching coach, our head minor league guy, Coach Forbes, really, Mr. Forbes, um, meeting all the players for the first time who were drafted after the 8th round. So guys we hadn't met yet. A lot of the Latino players we'd never met before, from our class and from the classes before, who are all incredible dudes. It really was pretty awesome. And then kind of going from there, like you said, had to push it back a little bit, the debut date, but there were some back injuries that came in the way. And then we had extended, so it was basically the ACL League extended, as the name goes. We played the we played the Diamondbacks probably 15 times in a row.
Right.
It kind of became ridiculous, but getting the first start out of the way, got the first strikeout out of the way. I still have the ball sitting over there in my little shrine my dad made. So I mean, it was pretty nerve-wracking, but once you got that first one out of the way, it just became like a normal day at the ballpark. You get used to it, get used to the system. The only thing that was hard to get used to was once Instruct started, it's 21 straight days, no breaks, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. Working out 4 days a week, 3 days a week. And that's what it was, man. It's a job now. It's not just doing it as a college gig. This is real world stuff.
Yeah, but lots of, I don't want to say lots of downtime, because it's really not, but when you're around it for, every day, like you said, 21 days in a row, you get the chance to really connect with everybody, your fellow staff mates. Had a learning, you mentioned the first ball and the strikeout. You had another learning experience right away too, right? First home run given up.
Yeah, I mean, listen, 95 in college works pretty well. You can kind of do that to a lot of kids and go 3 fastballs or 5 fastballs, whatever it takes to end an at bat pretty easily. In the pros, I had a rude awakening. I came into a game for my first outing. They wanted to ease me in, and they eased me in as closing a 2-1 game. First batter I ever faced, strike him out. We had set him up nicely that at bat. Second batter, fall behind 2-0. I'm like, all right, get a fastball in there, start the count over, 2-1, get back in it. And sure enough, the 2-0 fastball, I must have replayed it 10 times when I got back to the facility from our game. But up and in fastball doesn't play anymore if the guy's sitting on it. And he ended up, it was a wall scraper. I'm going to give the kid credit, but it was a wall scraper.
Yeah.
And then from that point on, no more home runs. But it was definitely, an eye opener that, hey, the same stuff that worked in college, the same stuff that, worked in the summer before this, it's not the same. These kids are all in the pros for a reason. A lot of us got up to the upper 90s. We had a lot of guys get up to the upper 90s, including myself. And I watched those things not play well either. I mean, we had our 20th rounder is probably our hardest throwing kid right now. He was up to 98, set, 96, 98 his last outing. And the first batter he faced, low fastball out of the zone, some kid pulls it for a home run. I mean, it's just how it is. Like, these guys are able to adjust and adapt to any situation. And for us as pitchers, we got to be able to do the same thing.
It's not just raw velo anymore. It's sequencing and
exactly
setting people up and making, changing their timing. And was that the biggest, I don't want to say surprise, because you kind of knew, it's pro ball now, but
right.
What was the biggest prize for you, that you might not have been thinking about or not expecting that you came across?
I mean, honestly, the biggest surprise probably came. That's definitely one of them. I mean, there's a couple. That's one of the bigger surprises. The other big surprise is probably just, how talented everyone is from draft 1, pick 1 to pick 20 to undrafted free agents to, to the Latino kids who we've never heard about, just like they've never heard about us. I mean, we're surrounded by the best guys out there, just like every team is. And our late round guys and some of our undrafted free agents were actually some of the best performers the entire time we were there. And it's just how it is. It's I've come to terms with, and just like everyone else has, that it doesn't matter where you're drafted. Yeah, I was looking first round. Yeah, things were going that way until an injury, but I'm watching undrafted free agents take first rounders deep. I'm watching undrafted free agents make plays that, you don't watch kids play. I watch them get comparisons to Nolan Arenado, or one of our third basemen, Skylar Messenger. He literally plays like Arenado. It's just how he is. And in his case, he's a fifth year. He was old, and
Mhm.
like I said, it's a business. He got an opportunity to get picked late, and he's doing everything in his power to show that he deserves to be there, and he did a damn good job of it. So I think that's definitely the biggest surprise, because we all come into this from watching guys like Hunter Green get drafted in 2017, and Jason Groom from New Jersey a couple years back, and Jack Leiter and Anthony Volpe, where you're like, oh well, these guys are the standard of what you need to meet, and they're not. Those guys are drafted because they've shown that potential so early on, but there's guys just as good as them, if not better, getting drafted behind them. And
Mhm.
that's just how this game works. Like, that's why, you see guys out there. I mean, for Christ's sake, Robbie Ray, as great as he is, he signed a 5-year, $115 million deal last year, or it might have been 2 years ago, and he was a 12th round draft pick. Like, it's just how it works. Whoever has more grit's gonna make it. So I think that's a big eye opener for a lot of us.
Yeah. Now, what's the one thing that was like exactly the way you pictured it was going to be?
Uh, in a non-disrespectful way, and it's not, because there's a lot of stuff going on with the MLBPA and things like that. The pay is exactly what you'd expect it to be if you have the right knowledge going in. We did the math. We had gotten instructs. They had just reversed it, so now they can pay us, but it's incredibly minimal. So we all checked our bank accounts and we're like, oh, okay, we did 16 days straight. We got like $250, and we did the math. 10 hours at the field a day for 16 days straight. We're getting paid like $1.10 an hour. Like, it's pretty brutal pay, but at the same time, you got to realize, they're making our meals for us for breakfast and lunch, and we're playing a child's game as a profession. Like, there's some takeaways you have to understand as a professional athlete, that you're not going to get paid the best until you make it to the pros, and you're not going to get paid as well in low A as you're going to get paid in triple A. So there, I think, in my opinion, these things won't change rapidly, but they're incentives to get there as fast as you can, to work
Yeah.
your tail off, to make it to the triple A, to make it to the majors, to stay in the majors. That's really the hardest part. So the pay is definitely what I expected to a T.
You're now in your first off season professionally, um, working towards your first spring training, which is a cool thing in itself. What's the plan? What are the most important things you feel like you need to do to make that a success?
Yeah, so I mean, like you said, spring training is a very exciting time. It's a very stressful time. I know the coaches there, our higher ups were talking about, like, listen, when you come here in spring training, it's just a sea of purple. Like, there's 180
Yeah.
players, there's 60 coaches and staff in our complex, and our complex fortunately shares with the major league guys. So we're going to be eating breakfast and lunch and dinner with them, seeing them in the training room, seeing them in the hot and cold tubs. It's a perfect time to try to get some insight from those guys on how it was for them and what to do. So that's stuff kind of down the road, what I intend on doing. Um, Really, at this point, in the off season, it's, I'm fortunate I got a weight room in my basement with all the bells and whistles. Might not be as clean as a Gold's Gym or something like that, but it has everything I need. Tom Drown is right down the road. Um, I got my own people here that I can work with. It's gonna be working out, 5, 6 days a week, taking care of my arm, doing arm care, stretching, mental health, mental skills training, 6 days a week, 7 days a week. I'll be down in Florida November through December, and then I'll be back in Jersey for a month, and then back down in Florida from January 15th to February 15th, and then they ship us out. So for me, what I've talked to to the head coaches about, and I've talked to with the minor league guys, is that what I need to work on, because it's Colorado, we're all trying to get to Colorado. So we're playing in high altitude environments. I need to work on staying low in the zone with my fastball, because up in the zone doesn't play well. It's just easier for hitters to hit. Um, and really that's number one. And just like everyone, you're trying to work on your stamina. You're trying to work on the break of your pitches, trying to work on my ability to control the game mentally and stuff like that. So a lot of the same concepts going in, but for me, the number one goal has to be working low in the zone with the fastball. I know my velo will increase as time goes on. I know that's just naturally going to happen as long as I put the work in physically, but none of it's going to matter if I can't execute my pitches down in the zone. And that's something that, they talked about. Our head pitching coordinator, who basically calls guys up and takes them down and all those things. He's the one who says, hey, if you can't control the running game and you can't pitch low in the zone, you're not going to make it to the pros. So that's something that we've all taken in. We clock our times to the plate. You have to be a 135 or less on all your pitches. Doesn't matter if it's off speed or not. Doesn't matter where the runners are. And those are two huge factors that help you win and lose ball games, help you keep your ERA high or low, stuff like that. And it's just it's a lot. I've had to write stuff down countless times to make sure I don't forget it, but it's something that if you're willing to take care of business and you want to make it to that level, it's not that much.
Yeah. And you mentioned the altitude, and it's crazy. They've now got 30 years of experience and knowledge of what it does to guys. For people who haven't been out to Denver and maybe just hear about it, and know that, it's mile high and all that stuff, what are the effects, and how do you impact your training? Because I mean, obviously that's the goal. If you're going to make the majors, it's either, within the organization, it's you're going to be pitching it at high altitude.
Yeah, I mean, there's like you said, people who don't know it, and it's unfortunate because it's fans too who might not know it. I'm pretty sure your diehard fans understand it, but a lot of people don't understand how big of a complex issue for pitchers it is to go pitch at Denver. I mean, if you really look at it, there's never been a Cy Young Award winner, I'm pretty sure, from the Rockies. You're not going to have the lowest ERA in the country in the league from the Rockies. You're going to have a good amount of hits, good amount of extra base hits. It's just how it is. But we talked about it with our head analytics pitching coach, who runs the analytics side, the metrics and all that. And we had a graph that showed German Marquez, his split and how his pitches move when he's away at, Los Angeles, when they play Milwaukee, all those guys. Splits are natural. It's what his pitches typically do. But when you go to Denver, the movement of all your pitches reduces by 25%. So his graph was very widespread. And then you show him in Denver, and it's just this big glob of fastball, changeup, curveball, slider, all meshed into one. And it just shows you that, altitude does play a factor. The ball doesn't move as much. The spin's affected. You're not going to get as much ride on your fastball. You have to be able to pitch down in the zone and understand that you're going to get more contact because the pitches aren't going to blend as well. And you're going to also have to understand that there's going to be some cheap home runs that come with it. You throw a pitch that's supposed to be a fly ball deep to the outfield is going to now be a home run in Coors Field because the altitude's not pushing down on the ball as heavy. So for pitchers, it's a tough situation. And we talk about being, the toughest pitchers in the country are going to be us because we have to pitch in the toughest environments. But for the hitters, this is a godsend. You're playing in the place that if you put a ball in the air and you got power, you're looking at a good chance to hit some home runs this season. So, it's pretty mind-boggling how intense the change is. But at the same time, it tells us that if we can pitch there, there's no place we can't pitch. It's understanding what you have to do. German Marquez and a couple other guys, including myself, we all throw 4 seams and 2 seams. So for me in Denver, it might make more sense if I make, when I make it there, it's going to be pitching 2 seams and sliders and changeups versus going fastball up in the zone to curveball down in the zone, because those pitches, you pop a curveball out, it's not going to get that break if you don't get it just right. It's going to spin and hang in the zone. And like I said, just about these guys in the ACL, where we have minor league players who can make adjustments to a fastball up in the zone. These guys are going to be the top tier
Mhm.
players in the world. You make a mistake, they're probably not going to miss it too many
Right.
times.
Yep. Now you mentioned the draft spot, obviously hoping to go higher. Some injuries probably put a damper on that during the season, but what I know of you from the years, it always, I think you're best with a little chip on your shoulder anyway.
Yep.
And it's nice to have 29 targets, helping to drive you along the way when times don't look that great, right? So it's not that hard to turn into a positive for you, right?
No, not at all. I mean, like you said, 29 targets, 100. Actually, I got something funny. 129 targets, 145 picks ahead of me. Nike helped me with this purchase, but it's my new training shoe. It's what I do for working out, but it has my draft pick on it, and then it has my motto on the other side of the shoe, but just in acronym. So it's relentless in the pursuit of success and happiness. And yeah, I mean, listen, things went the wrong way. At one point, I was projected 37th overall, um, and a finger injury, put things down even further. Like you said, things happen for a reason. I'm a big believer that I am better with a chip on my shoulder. It's how it's always been. And would I have liked to have gone where I was supposed to? For sure. But you watch it happen all the time. I mean, I'm not the only guy who was
Yeah.
supposed to be in the first and second round, and then business is business, and they know they could get me for cheaper. So why wouldn't they? Um, it's just how it goes. But like you said, that chip is going to be why, I'm very confident in my abilities, very confident I'm gonna work my tail off, and I'm gonna be in the show before a lot of guys are. And that's my confidence. It's not cockiness. People mistake confidence and cockiness because, my opinion, confidence is when you know you can accomplish it, and it's not just some false reality you're picturing in your head, versus cockiness is you just saying something and you can't back it up. And I'm more than determined to back it up. So now it's just time to go show it. The draft has come and gone. My disappointment in that outcome has come and gone. My excitement for the future has now become even brighter than ever. And all the work I'm going to put in is just going to make it even more exciting. There's ups and downs, ebbs and flows, but if you can hold on to understanding that this is the hardest sport out there, and that there's going to be times like that, there's nothing you can't accomplish in it. So I'm more than excited and more than happy to have that chip on my shoulder again.
Yep. Scottsdale, obviously, for spring training. So the question is, how's the golf game going?
It's mediocre at best right now. I mean, I'm not the biggest golfer. I ended up like getting this place called Second Swing out in Arizona. Just or you can buy clubs for half the price, a third of the price, because they're just used. So I went to the driving range countless times when I was out there. And the last time we went, you know, driver finally met its match, and the shaft couldn't handle the speed I was swinging at. Club head went like 120 yards out into the course, or out into the range. But this place, Dobson, was like a even better version of Top Golf, because it was cheaper and it read the metrics better, and you weren't using their Top Golf balls that are designed to hit the ball slower and not as far. So I'm hitting balls as hard as guys like Rory McIlroy and things like that. People are giggling because of how far I'm hitting them, but I got to fix the chip game, the putt game, the wood. I'm not good at any of that other stuff.
Everything except for the driver. And if everybody remembers Sandlot, Connor just wanting to do home run derby when it was time to hit.
Oh yeah,
That shouldn't be a surprise, right?
nah, just big power guys, hit or miss right here, and that's why all my buddies want me to play scramble games with them, because
Yeah,
scramble is just, hey,
of
if
course.
you hit a ball 350 yards like we know I can
You
down the
don't have to do
fairway,
anything else. You
I
just
don't have to
go,
do anything else.
you hit your drive, you go back in the cart, you drink till the next hole.
Yeah, I sit down, I relax, I grab a beverage, and
Mhm.
next thing I know, we have a 5-stroke lead by the time the third hole comes around.
Now everybody post draft seems to make some sort of purchase. Yours was a set of wheels, right?
Yeah, I got a new set of wheels. It was fortunate that I had some money lying around that didn't involve my signing bonus. Just some things I'd done in the past. some family stuff that had fortunately worked in my favor, as well as some stock stuff that worked in my favor.
Mhm.
Um, and I do a couple side hustles, but that's neither here nor there. The car, yeah, I got myself a Maserati. I had been looking at nice cars for a while before the draft, and I was fortunate enough to be able to get one. The place I got it from was this place called Skyview Motors. Um, this guy had been customizing it and doing stuff to it because he really liked the car. So he put this chrome mat on the back of the car. Then he had kind of done some stuff with the engines. He had gotten a red and black interior. So I mean, it's a beautiful car. It's a ton of fun to drive. And everyone busts my balls about it. I think that was like the first thing our minor league director of ops said to me was about my car. Um, so it draws attention, but I've never been one to shy away from attention.
No, no, that's great. Before we go here, you're working on a special project. You're working on a project in the off season that means a lot to you. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so we all have deals and stuff like that. We all do marketing deals, and I've signed a couple deals with some organizations and some card companies and some apparel companies, but I've decided that I wanted to take it upon myself to create my own with my best friend Griffin Hotti. He's at Belmont, does videography. He's trying to get into sports side of things. um his whole family is part of the artistic side of things. So his brother does photography, him doing videography and photography is awesome. His brother's girlfriend does digital marketing, so she's good with digital design. His brother Chris Gibbs, does other stuff in the marketing and design world. So for me and Griffin, we want to create our own brand. That's not just going to appeal to the baseball side of things. It's going to be a workout brand. It's going to have the right design so that it's a you can wear it out in public just like a normal fit. We're going to start doing stuff, relatively soon. If not today, we're going to start doing some stuff where we're going to get the apparel shipped out and ready to roll. I'll keep the brand, private for now because I'm going to do a big release along with him.
Mhm.
Um, when we actually get the inventory and we start shipping stuff out. But I'm really excited to get it underway. It's been something that it's going to revolve around the Relentless brand on my arm. It's going to have something to do with me and my foundations and Griffin and his foundations. So I'm really, really excited to see where that brand takes off too. And you watch guys do it year in, year out. New brands come and go, and I'm hoping that we can be the next big brand that people giggle about now, but 5 years down the road when we got it really going for us, even a couple years down the road when we got it really going for us, they're all going to be saying how they were a part of it or they got the first couple pieces of apparel that came out. So I'm more than excited to get that underway as a side job to really working my tail off in the pros.
And there's got to be an excitement because it's something you've wanted to do and have this platform. The realization of actualizing that vision has got to be incredible.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, like you said, I've thought about doing this since high school,
Right.
and hoping to get that type of community behind me and social media platform. And there's still a ways to go, but I've built myself up slowly and progressively, and this is now finally seems like the right time to start it. We're going to do everything we can to help, my foundations, his foundations, to help kind of bring more awareness to certain communities and certain environments. And it's going to be awesome. I think everyone's going to benefit. It's not just going to be me trying to create a money grabbing apparel company like these other companies do. We're trying to do it for a greater good and a greater cause, and I just can't wait to see how the apparel turns out and how people are going to enjoy it. And it's pretty interesting. It's pretty exciting, and now it's just hitting the ground running with it.
Yeah, for sure. We certainly wish you the best with that and everything over the winter. And always awesome to do this, Connor.
Yeah, no, it's always a pleasure. I always appreciate your time, and I'm sure we'll be doing this one. Maybe not soon, but hey, I'm sure we'll be doing one when I'm in the pros, and we're going to do another conversation like this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Connor Staine, our guest today, Colorado Rockies 2022 draft choice, getting ready for his first pro off season, and lots in store. We'll catch everybody next time on JBN.